Assalamu alaikum. Today I'm going to present this paper. Actually, this paper is based on my chapter that is already published, and I will also give you the link in the description to access the full PDF version of my paper. So just let's go ahead. And this is just first part based on that chapter because it is, a long chapter. So I will be giving the second part based on the second part of my chapter. The technological view of 19th century imperialism and globalization in science fiction and global history. The abstract. This paper is an excerpt from my chapter, A Technological View of 19th Century Imperialism and Globalization in Science Fiction and Global History, published in The Rail, The Body, and the Pen, edited by Brian Cowlishaw, published by McFarlnad, USA 2021. The paper presents a critical analysis of the treatment of technology in the 19th century Western European science fiction in relation to histories written from global and social economic perspectives. I will compare and contrast the global and socio-economic historical perspectives to bring forth their points of convergence and divergence on the issue of technology in relation to imperialistic and globalization processes. The paper will include discussion on the relationship between number 1, technology and imperialism, number 2, technology and globalization, and number 3, technology and ideology of progress leading to modernity, and 4, technology and culture as explored in the selected historical texts. Daniel R. Hedrick, in his 3 historical works over the span of 30 years, traces the relationship between technology and imperialism, claiming that all social situations occur in a technological context. He emphasizes to study European empires from this perspective. His first book, The Tools of Empire, argues that historical debates on the rapid expansion of European imperialism from 35% in 1800 to 84.4% in 1914 focus solely on the motives, ignoring the means to materialize imperial ambitions. Thus, he explores the symbiotic relationship between European imperialism and technological progress. His second book, The Tentacles of Progress, deals with the transfer of technology by the imperialists into the tropics to increase industrial production by using scientific method and demand of Asians and Africans for Western technology as well as manufactured goods. This contributed to the economic growth of the empires by expanding free trade imperialism as well as the growth of consumerist culture. Hedrick intended his third book, Power Over Peoples, to present a paradoxical argument as it starts to answer the question if superior technology would always promise colonial conquest, or was the case of 19th century European imperialism a fugue, an aberration. He concludes that superior technology may not always help in dominating peoples with inferior technologies, yet the pursuit for ever more advanced technologies continues unabated, and with it, the temptation to use them against other peoples. His argument over 30 years gets slightly inflected in the light of Vietnam and Afghanistan episodes, yet as far as 19th century imperialism is concerned, he is convinced of its technological determinism. Global Histories by Hopkins and Osterhammel take a more comprehensive view of Western dominance, discussing the causality of the distinct processes of globalization and imperialism. They explore political, economic, social, and cultural aspects of the time. Both Hopkins and Osterhammel, they actually talk about the multiple factors like economics and other social and political factors. Economic interest, growing industries, demands for raw materials, and political pressure all push the empires to expand for their survival. Though Hopkins overemphasis on the political, economic, and cultural aspects leaves little room for technological determinism as pushed by Hebrink, yet throughout his narrative, technology plays a significant role in contributing to the development in all these spheres. Osterheimer's global history, on the other hand, is more balanced in recognizing the importance of technology as a means to realize imperial and global dreams, ambitions, as he does not try to undermine its role in the narrative of Western dominance. So let's move towards our discussion after the literature review. Number one is technology and imperialism. The momentum that imperial process enjoyed from the 1850s to 1914 was the result of technological innovations in medical technology and firearms. Steamboats opened up Asia and Africa almost simultaneously, yet the Europeans could not penetrate the interior of Africa till the late 19th century because they had not yet developed the technology to fight diseases like malaria and trypanosomiasis they encountered there. For example, in 1799, almost half of the French army died of the plague and in Algeria of malaria. Osterheimer rightly calls 19th century a century of hygiene revolution with the rise of lab medicine in the 1870s as a result of microbe theory of Louis Pasteur in the 1880s. Europe worked on public hygiene policy. It was due to quinine and gunboats that Europeans gained access into Africa. Another important technology was firearms. Moreover, the new imperialism in the late 19th century became possible because of the crushing superiority of European firepower. Hedrick considers that the gun revolution from the 1860s to 1880s started the era of industrial slaughter. Most of the rifles like French Mini and British Enfield were tested in the colonial contest. In the Anglo-Burmese War and Opium Wars, Great Britain won because of the superior weapons and steamers. Osterheimer gives many examples of genocide and ruthless killing of the racial others in his history in the imperial encounters and the expansion of frontiers. Before 1850, Aborigines in Australia were hunted down on a large scale. Their population dramatically decreased because of massacre and the diseases like smallpox brought by the invaders. Osterheimer gives examples of genocide in the bloody wars waged in Sudan, the Ivory Coast, and East Africa using lethal weapons. Belgian Congo and German Southeast Africa became the stage for large-scale genocide. In the 1893 to 97 war, Britain used machine guns against Uganda, and Germans used them in the South African War against the locals. Military superiority became a decisive factor, as could be witnessed in the victory of the United States over Spain and of Japan over China and Russia, thus placing them among the five great powers. Military technology. The British Navy was the strongest and the largest by 1805. In the 1880s, Germany too built a modern navy. The navy had the power to open or block the sea routes for strategic reasons, as well as power to police piracy and slave trade. India served Britain as a military and naval base to control the Orient. Both merchant and naval ships played a vital role in providing access to America, Australia, and India. In the 1890s, Alfred Mahan and Theodore Roosevelt, two expansionists, worked together to develop a modern navy, which was essential to undertake the venture of war with Spain in 1898. The United States of America possessed 4 first-class and 2 second-class and a number of cruisers, making it one of the major naval powers of the time. Communication technologies also played an important role in imperialism. Communication technologies like telegraph cables and press also contributed to European imperial success by keeping them well informed about world events with news from all across the globe. A permanent transatlantic telegraph link was established by 1866, while India and all colonies were linked to Britain by 1876. British maintained hegemony in communications, as all peripheral communications were possible only through the center. Press also emerged as an institutional counterweight to the government as a fourth state, with war reporters and foreign correspondents covering the local and independent events. From the 1860s onwards, the press played an important role in imperial propaganda and wars of revolution. Reuters Global Surveys enjoyed great political influence as a British imperial institution. Pall Mall Gazette and New York World not only responded to the events, but were soon trying to create them. So, what role does technology play in globalization? Let's check in this section. Imperialism and globalization both are mobile processes, and the mobility is technology dependent. If we take globalization as a network, technology is the node or junction for all diverse pathways, national, international, cultural, political, economic, to converge. In the 19th century, globalization and imperialism went hand in hand as steamboats carried imperial agents, explorers, soldiers, missionaries, administrators, and traders around the world. Transnational migration systems like Dutch, North Sea, and Ruhr systems contributed to the growth of trade, migration, and expansion. For example, from 1815 onwards, 50 million European migrants moved to different parts of the world, especially the United States. The opening of the Suez Canal also revolutionized political and economic relations between the East and the West, leading to a new global civilization based on Western technology. Railways. The railways of the 19th century, like the airlines of today, were extensions of distant financial centers, factories, and consumers. It helped in national integration as well as in extending imperial control in Asia, America, as well as Africa. By the 1880s, all Europe was covered by the railroad. That resulted in the metropolitan sprawl and the rise of industrial cities. The Transcontinental Railroad linked Chicago to California in 1869. It revolutionized the settlement and economy of the Western states and territories by making transportation from coast to coast considerably quicker and less expensive. Printing press, another technology that contributed to globalization and got itself globalized, was the printing press. The penny press, the first mass circulation press, was established in the US in 1830. Keyboard-operated hot material linotype machine worked more efficiently than Gutenberg's movable type printing press. The daily newspapers were a Euro-American invention that spread across the globe. They carried with them European ideals of freedom of speech and raised the literacy level and political consciousness of the common masses. The news traveled around the world and served as a transformative force in every country. Technology has a special role to play in Western progress. Osterhammel posits that industrial and technological progress is linked to the meta-narrative of progress. Faith in technological and moral progress had seldom been so great, and the old had rarely appeared so obsolete. As an example, he cites Adam Smith's theory of material progress of human species, evolving through stages of hunting, gathering, and agriculture to commercial society of capitalism, and other popular theory of social Darwinism, as propounded by Herbert Spencer, also viewed progress as a development from military to industrial society, through phases of differentiation and reintegration. The technological difference between the West and the rest of the world made it difficult to fit the racial others into the matrix of progress. The steam power. The steam engines not only empowered railways and marine transportation, but also revolutionized the industrial production, providing Europe to lead the world both as an economic and imperial power. The efficient use of energy led to the classification of races on the scale of physical and mental energy, establishing the West as youthful, energetic, and the rest of the world as old, passive, and lifeless. Hopkins, too, takes industrialization as a proxy for modernization, leading to a great divergence between the West and the rest of the world that was to last till the end of the 20th century. The West discovered new modes of energy production to accelerate manufacturing and trade, and had the means to own overseas colonies to generate revenue and supply raw materials. Technology and asymmetrical power relations. Technological and scientific progress provided material grounds for the rhetoric of manifest destiny. America had set an example of progress in the Wild West and could enlighten the rest of the world alike. The Europeans began to confuse levels of technology with levels of culture in general, and finally with biological capacity. Military potential gave America justification to use force to defend the fundamental American values of liberty and democracy, choosing its soul as a savior of the world by exercising violence. The American policy after 9/11 became more aggressive, with the ultimate right to preemptive strikes to demonstrate power of military force. What left Asians and Africans really mesmerized was what they lacked. It is their technology, the true legacy of imperialism. Technology became their object of desire as a result of imperial and technological intercourse. Technology transferred the idea of progress into the colonies too, inspiring nationalist movements, thus making it possible for the colonized to fight back long before they decided to write back. Now we come to the fourth section, technology and Western culture. Technology had a far-reaching impact on culture. The period of 1750 to 1850 marked the transition from the feudal mode of production to industrial capitalism in the scientific industrial world. New hobbies and pastimes emerged as a result of technological innovations. Railways promoted export tourism. The 1851 exhibition in London set the trend, followed by 1867 Paris and 1876 Philadelphia exhibitions. These exhibitions served as advertisements of scientific and commercial achievements of the West, where wonders of the world were showcased against the primitive cultures. African and Native American bodies were displayed in the exhibits, circuses, and the Wild West shows. Steamboats and railways also initiated the era of travel writing that provided information to the traders and imperialists to follow suit. Therefore, Osterhammer considers travel and imperial expansion as two sides of the same coin. Conclusion. It was due to technology that the West, from its center, exercised imperial power, as well as disseminated or globalized its knowledge, goods, and culture to the rest of the world. Technology is at the center of the discussion of the 19th century imperialism in Heydrich's socioeconomic historical works. It receives a more balanced treatment in Osterhammer's global history, with its transformative role in the progress of the West as a sporting actor. It is always there to determine the fate of the victors, leaders in the drama of imperialism and globalization. Similarly, Hopkins' global history, in its tale of the takeover of power and progress by the New World, draws attention to the implied causes or means like industry production, transportation, communication innovations, and military improvement. Thank you so much. And soon I will be uploading the second part as well, that will be discussing the role of technology or the treatment of technology in 19th century Western science fiction. I hope that you would give me some positive feedback and some comments and how can this be improved. God bless you all.